Hey friends. So yeah, the other day I saw the Sonic movie and I want to talk about it, and that's about it. Um, just to preface this a little bit, not really a movie buff, so I don't really have like the intricacies of what makes a good movie. I'm only saying this because, I mean, this video specifically probably won't be too positive, only because I genuinely think it's more interesting. The stuff that I'm about to say is more interesting than the stuff I could praise about the movie. I'm gonna obviously talk about what I liked about the movie, but a lot of people are talking about what they liked about the movie, and it's pretty unanimously liked, which surprises me. But I will talk about that because I think it's genuinely interesting, and I don't hate it. I'm not gonna rant on it and just be like, this is so stupid. But to warn you, yes, I am going to probably talk about why I'm a little confused on why it's doing so well. But yeah, if you didn't know, the movie is doing super, super well, selling like crazy, and also has a huge, really high rating, audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm not going to explain the backstory to this movie. I think everyone on the planet knows exactly what happened to this movie. And I think that had a lot to, the redesign and everything, had a lot to do with how the movie's doing financially. I mean, it was big news. And, people are loud online. Sonic fans are pretty dang loud. So I could see a lot of people just hearing it as a buzz. Like, oh, shit, Sonic movie good? Gotta see it. And it's, a fun idea. Seeing a Sonic movie, no one... I'm sure a lot of people never thought that would happen. So it's, kind of like the Pokemon movie. But... even then, it's doing better than the Pokemon movie financially, apparently. So it's holy crap. And I'm sure it had a way smaller budget. So that's pretty impressive. There's definitely going to be a sequel, which is cool because I think that's one of the best things I can say about the movie at the moment is the potential for a sequel will be very, very cool to see. Let's just talk about... Also, I don't think this really swayed my opinion of the movie. But I had a horrible viewing experience of this movie, and it was not, the audience or anything. We were, for some reason, my girlfriend wanted to be, 3 rows from the front, which is really close, which isn't that big a deal in theaters these days, because a lot of them have the reclining chairs. And this one did, but the reclining chair did not work on mine, so it was standing up. So it was either I was slouching in my chair, so, my butt was basically off of the chair, so I was leaning back on the bottom of the back of the chair, if you know what I mean, and that was killing my back. Or I was sitting up straight and my neck was staring up at the screen, and I was like, oh my god. And it was not fun. I feel like I spent 2 hours trying to find a comfortable position. I don't think that affected my review of the movie. That'd be pretty stupid, but it was just one of those things. Probably the worst experience I've had watching a movie in that sense, where it's damn, this was kind of shitty. And I was gonna complain and be like, hey, my seat didn't recline, I think you guys should check that out. And maybe they would have been like, oh, okay. I would have just been like, hey, my seat didn't recline, and I was really close to the screen, and it hurt my neck and and maybe they would have done something, but I didn't want to complain. Also, man, I always forget how expensive stuff is at movies theaters. I mean, I know it's part of the experience, but man, when you spend $30 at a movie theater, not just in total, with the movie included, it's damn, $30. Shake my head. I guess that's whatever. But that's neither here nor there about the Sonic movie. So the Sonic movie is in a genre that I like to call CGI friend, where it's about a dude, preferably white and a solid percent of the time James Marsden, and his CGI friend, who is hanging out with him during the movie. It seems to be a trend, and lots of movies have done it. If you've never seen Alvin and the Chipmunks, there's the Smurfs, there's Garfield, there's Hop, and I've seen some of these movies. I remember I was very, very interested in seeing Garfield when it came out, because I was like, oh, this is when I was a kid. I was like, oh, Garfield, but not so great. To be fair, I haven't seen Garfield in a while, and I kind of remember being like, oh, yeah, that's fine. I don't know. I was like, okay. And not anything crazy, but I kind of remember laughing a little bit, kind of cringing a little bit, kind of being like, that part was funny, that part wasn't. This story's a little, whatever. But yeah, it's whatever. That movie, I'll get into that. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. But, yeah, and I think it really falls in that line. very, very much falls in that genre, where that genre has a lot of tropes, from what I can tell, a lot of, like, the classic, like, you can talk? Like, oh my god, I'm dreaming, oh my god. And, like, oh my god. See, so this is the thing. I'm rambling a lot, and this, by the way, this is just how these usually are. This movie was so generic. It was so painfully generic. It felt, I said this to my friend, and I think this is accurate. It felt like a CGI Friend movie first, a Sonic movie second. Sonic just so happened to be the catalyst for this movie. So they add little things to the Sonic movie that makes it, like, happy for Sonic fans. You know, they live in Green Hill, and, like, you know, there's rings, I think. Like, I mean, there are rings. They don't really function the same way, but there are rings there. And they play the music sometimes. And there's, like, little tiny nods, but honestly, the nods are so inconsequential. I thought the coolest nod, if anything, and it might be just coincidence because San Francisco is a pretty city, so it's like, oh, good location. San Francisco is kind of the location of Sonic Adventure 2, so it's kind of neat that it's like, oh, maybe they thought about that. I don't think they did. I think that's coincidence, but you never know. It'd be cool if anything. I saw people on Twitter, oh my god, people on Twitter, like, being like, no, this movie is the bridge that, like, you know, paths the retro Sonic to the new Sonic. It's genius. And I'm like, oh my god. I would not be surprised if a lot of the people involved maybe played one of the Sonic games, maybe did a little research, but in the end, that doesn't really seem like that was their goal. Their goal was not to make, like, a Sonic movie, quote unquote. It is a Sonic movie, but it doesn't seem like the focus at all. The focus is on James Marsden's character. Also, my friend made a very good point. Came out of the movie, and he was talking about how he went to see it with his friends, and he was like, came out of the movie, and his friend was like, I like that. And he's like, what was the main character's name? And he was like, and he's like, what about his wife? What was his wife's name? And he's like, it turns out his name was Tom. Obviously, a lot of people probably know that. They didn't say his name much, I guess is, like, the thing, but it was just so inconsequential. It was like the same shit you always see, and I thought that was weird. Like, I thought, like, I don't love, like, the generic, you know, dude hates his hometown, but now he learns to love it. It didn't even seem like that was the focus either. That was, like, a side thing. I don't even know the focus was, like, Sonic and his powers, kind of. It's hard to even pinpoint a focus. I guess the focus was Sonic and James Marsden's character's Tom's, like, relationship and their, like, friendship, which is fine. I mean, that's cute. Sonic, like, just, I guess I'm not gonna really talk about too many spoilers. I'm just gonna keep it pretty vague. But Sonic is, like, lonely and then, like, stalks this dude. And so when he's getting hunted, he goes to see him because he's, like, his only, like, fake friend, kind of. And he calls him, like, Donut Lord because he's a cop. So, man, I'm going to talk about this too, but it's going to be kind of a long video. Jesus. Anyway. Yeah, so they coincidentally are both on the run because he's smuggling him, and I guess Sonic has a power that the government wants to, like, the government just wants to, like, have a stop to it. Like, there's, like, one power outage, and they're like, this is fucking dangerous. And then, like, they hire Robotnik, who's played by Jim Carrey, obviously, and Robotnik just wants to, like, have it for himself. Kind of a weird, like, just sort of not inconsequential thing. Like, it's like the government just kind of is like, oh, Robotnik, go ahead. And Robotnik's like, I'm gonna do whatever I want. And it's a family movie. I don't expect that part. I don't expect a lot of things, but that's okay, so here's the thing. I don't expect a lot of things because it's a CGI Friend family movie, like Garfield or Smurfs. I wouldn't go into the Smurfs expecting something crazy. I'm not going into Sonic expecting something crazy, but I got pretty much exactly what I expected. Like, if I went to Smurfs and watched the Smurfs and I finished the Smurfs, I'd probably have the same feeling I had about Sonic. And that's not necessarily a good thing, because, like, those movies have, like, horrible ratings and everyone hates them, but for some reason everyone loves the Sonic movie. And that's not, you can love the Sonic movie. I'm genuinely surprised that people did like it, because it seems like a movie that would be so easy to hate. And I think that's generally something that people are kind of easing up on, is they're kind of trying to see the brighter side of things, which is a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing. And I didn't hate it either. I thought it was okay. I thought it was cute sometimes. I thought it was cringy sometimes. Like I said, it was stupid. It was dumb. It was weird. It was a lot of things. It was fine. But I guess people are being a little bit more optimistic, which is fine. And like, you can like it. I'm sure you can like it. It's just a little confusing. Anyway, I kind of want to get into this because I think it's kind of funny. So like, I'm on Rotten Tomatoes, and I don't know a lot about Rotten Tomatoes. I just know it's like a site that people can submit reviews, and there's critics on here, like, you know, people who are actual critics. So it got 63% on the critic side, and it's a decent enough like number. I'd probably give it a 63% too. It was a little, maybe a tiny bit better than the rest of the family-friendly, you know, CGI-friend movies. It was cool because it was, you know, Sonic, and I like Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a cool series. I think it's, or for the most part, I am kind of a fan of it. So it was nice to see that kind of stuff. Video game inspired. I'm reading the description. A fine excuse for Jim Carrey to tap into the maniac energy and that launched his career. Yeah, Jim Carrey was like, I don't really know too much about Jim Carrey. I liked, let me make sure, because I don't want to be stupid. That was Jim Carrey, right? I'm not crazy, right? I'm not crazy. No, yeah, okay. The Truman Show. Yes, The Truman Show I really like. That movie is one of my favorite movies, and I remember seeing it and being like super impressed with it, and that was Jim Carrey. But he wasn't really crazy in that movie. He's a good actor, but he's not like super bombastic. Apparently he's the Grinch. I've never seen that movie, but apparently he's like that in The Grinch. I don't really... it's funny, I guess. He's like a cartoon character on screen. He's insane, and he's like super silly. I think that works for Eggman or Dr. Robotnik or whatever. It's like, it's fun to see him mess around a little bit. I think he gets a little like tiring, you know. It's like a little bit like, oh yeah, is he gonna like, he's gonna be like an asshole, and just kind of like, I could see if somebody like doesn't like Jim Carrey, obviously they're probably not gonna like this, but that's so, but if somebody likes, the thing is, you can't, it's a little annoying, because if somebody likes Robotnik, who he is portraying, but doesn't like Jim Carrey, so he's like, maybe Jim Carrey will do a great job with this. Maybe he'll really capture Robotnik. I don't think he does. I don't think he, like, captures, like, the essence of Dr. Eggman. He just captures the essence of Jim Carrey, which is fine, I guess. That's a classic typecast role. The only thing is, sometimes when you have these roles where they're based on somebody, you want them to act like the characters they're based on, and he kinda does. Like, Eggman's a little crazy, Eggman's a little wacky, he's a little, like, silly, and at the end he looks like him, I guess. But it seemed more like Jim Carrey than Dr. Robotnik. Again, doesn't need to be, totally fine. But if I was a fan if I wanted to see Dr. Robotnik in movie form, this is kind of not it. But again, people will probably be like, oh, you know, they can do whatever they want. You know, it's a creative thing. They're not supposed to just be the game. And that's true. I do think that's true. I want them to do their own thing. I like the idea of them doing their own thing. But it is an IP, and like, I think a good example of doing their own thing but staying on brand and incorporating things about it would be like the Pokemon movie. I actually really liked how the Pokemon movie incorporated Pokemon into the movie, because it was like, not the actual I meant the series, like Pokemon into the movie. It was clever. It was usually kind of stupid, like it was like, oh, like, I don't know, like the noises from Pokemon or something, like, you know, silly, but it was cute and it was a good effort. I feel like Sonic just didn't really have that same kind of effort. Sometimes did, but not super often. Anyway, so Sonic got a 63% from Rotten Tomato and a 95% from critic scores. That's really fucking high. 95%. I mean, that's really crazy high. It just did come out, so maybe over time it'll, you know, dwindle a little bit. Yeah, I mean, goddamn, 95%. Yes. For example, for comparison's sake, in my honest to God opinion, I haven't seen this movie in forever, But the Garfield movie wasn't that much worse. It was like fine. It was kiddie. It was dumb. It was like a family movie, I suppose. It has a 15% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's really low. That's like super low. I don't even know what that is. I don't really know. Like, the only thing is, if I watched both of these movies, I'd probably be hard pressed to like tell you every single little thing better about the Sonic movie. It follows so many of the same tropes, and most of the time, the tropes are the things that I don't really appreciate. The tropes are like the things where I'm like, ugh, same thing again. There's a joke. I've seen this joke a million times. Oh my god. I remember there's a part in the movie when, like, in the beginning it does like the and it like freeze frames and Sonic's like, you might be wondering how I got here. Like, let me back it up a bit. I don't love that trope. It's a little cliche. You know, Emperor's New Groove did it, I remember, but I think a lot of movies I've seen do it, like Deadpool, I remember doing it. Sort of generic kind of thing people do, but the real kicker is always the one that Emperor's New Groove did it, but a lot of other things in movies I've seen does it, where when they like get back to that part, like when they get to the scene in the movie, they're like, oh hey, we're back, and it's like, that's fine, but then they always say the same line where they're like, you might like, it's like, so you want to know what happens next? He's like, yeah, me too. Or like, same, or something, and I'm like, oh god, they did it in the movie, and I was like, no. Like, it hit every note all the way through, where I was like, oh man, I've seen that before. I was like, oh man. Also, the product placement was bad. I'm surprised people just like are okay with it. It's so bad. It's like literally comically bad. It's funny too, because the examples of bad product placement are always in the CGI friend movies. I think Garfield had pretty bad product placement, but the Smurfs, I remember, had a really bad scene with Guitar Hero, where he's like, dude, you guys don't want to play Guitar Hero? Like, and like playing Guitar Hero, and I was like, oh my god. Like, but man, the Sonic movie, God. It's almost treated as a joke. It's like, almost, but it isn't self-aware enough. Like, it isn't making fun of the idea enough. It like is in the movie, and I think that's kind of funny. Like, the Olive Garden thing is sort of funny, but that's not. I know it's not a joke. I just know it's not ironic. It's definitely not ironic, especially when they're getting a fat fucking paycheck from Olive Garden. So like, they don't fucking care. It doesn't need to be a joke. It doesn't need to be anything. They just gotta have it in the movie. The worst one, like the Olive Garden one, was like stupid as fuck. But the one where they were like, oh, I'm just looking at apartments on Zillow.com, and he like turns the screen. I was like the fucking, like, what's that GIF image of the guy like shaking his head and like his eyes get wide? I was like, are you fucking serious? I literally was like, to my girlfriend, like, are you fucking serious? I had heard the product placement was pretty bad, but those two scenes, oof. There was like 3 or 4 scenes actually. Wasn't a fan. I don't really like obvious product placement. I mean, people have talked about it, and it really does just like yoink, like remove you straight from the movie. It's not like the worst thing in the world, and people probably think I'm over exaggerating, but corporate shit like that in movies kind of like rub me the wrong way, just because it's like a creative medium, and like, I don't know, I'm a little weird about it, especially because movies are such a big industry that I'm like, I know it's expensive to make movies, but like, product placement's just like extra fucking greed, especially because the Sonic movie did fine. I guess they didn't expect it to do fine, so maybe that's why they added it. Anyway, Garfield movie has a 15% and a 37% audience score. I guess this isn't the best example because I haven't seen the Garfield movie in quite some time. But yeah, I don't know. I just remember the Garfield movie being fine. It was cute sometimes, funny sometimes, Garfieldy sometimes. So that's another thing. The Garfield movie is a perfect example of like, if you're a fan of Garfield, it's okay. It's like, it's fine. If you're a fan of Garfield, you're probably mad that it's like so generic and it's like just filling these tropes that tons of these same movies fill, and you're like, damn, I wish a Garfield movie was more original. Personally, Garfield's not very funny in general, so I wouldn't really put it in like a category where it needs this like beautiful movie. Also, Garfield's model is pretty good. Like, actually, I'm looking at it right now. It's not bad. It's actually kind of decent. It's like kind of reminds me of the Sonic one, actually. It's like a decently looking cartoony thing. The only thing that bothered me with the Garfield movie is I'm pretty sure like Odie wasn't a cartoon. It was like Garfield was the only one that looked like a cartoon character. And the Sonic movie, I guess there are other CGI friends at some point, and they look like Sonic. They're not like, except for the owl. The owl in the beginning did not look like Sonic. Anyway, I also have Into the Spider-Verse on Rotten Tomatoes open. This has a 93% audience score. Sonic has a 95. Into the Spider-Verse. And these movies are very different, but I will not lie. They essentially have very similar audiences. People who like Spider-Man, who have grown up with the IP, who want to see a good iteration of Spider-Man. There's been other Spider-Man movies, yeah, so you can compare them to that. But it is, easy to be like, hey, yeah, Spider-Man, I was just gonna say, like, this is a good adaptation of Spider-Man. This is exactly what I want to see. It's PG. It's for families, I'd argue. It's a family movie. Probably mainly aimed towards kids, because I think Spider-Man's a very big kid-oriented IP in a lot of ways. 93%, lower than the Sonic movie, and I don't want to be like that guy, but like, it's not that serious. It's like whatever. But man, did people really come out of the Sonic movie being like, this Spider-Verse? No way. This is where it's at. It's just funny because Into the Spider-Verse like blew my mind, like in its story and its visuals and its characters and its character arc and its music. I was like, this is like a fucking like milestone in movies. It feels like this is like fucking phenomenal. In the Sonic movie, I came out of being like, I will say this, I did not laugh out loud like once in the Sonic movie. I like chuckled maybe, and I was like, huh, okay, that's kind of funny. Or like there were like stupid scenes. I remember like, oh God, I'm trying to remember, like the part with the turtle in the beginning. That was kind of cute. That was fine. Like I thought that was funny enough. I didn't like laugh out loud, but I was like, oh, turtle shaking. It wasn't like, I did not laugh out loud. I was like, yeah, this is like a half smile the entire movie, and then it went from that to being like, oh God, Olive Garden. So it was like, just overall, and this is mostly just rambling, but this is mainly what I thought about it. I didn't love it. I cannot say I came out of it being a huge fan of the direction, but I will say that I think I have a theory about the ending, and I don't know for sure. I don't know how this movie was made. So spoilers, by the way, I'm gonna cut this off right now. If you have not seen the movie, I'm assuming most people have that have been watching this. They're probably curious and want to think about it. If you haven't seen the movie, please don't stop watching now. You pretty much heard what I feel about the movie. A little confused on why it's popular, but whatever. I'm not like, if you liked it, by all means. If you think it deserves a 95%, I mean, by all means. I'm totally fine with that. Like, I'm just like, I would probably give Spider-Verse a 95%, and I don't think this is on the same level as my opinion of Spider-Verse. If I had to give this a percentage rating, I'd probably give it like a 60%, maybe like closer to a 50. Not like something I'm like super crazy about. I'm just surprised the positive reception. That's great. I'm glad that these guys, the people who are working on this movie, are gonna do well. I'm glad Ben Schwartz was doing well. He's not bad as Sonic. I don't love it. I didn't love his performance. Some of the lines were a little weird sounding and just generally a little weird. But it wasn't bad. I think it was fine. But yeah, that's what I thought. But anyway, I want to go into things I did like, which sadly are mostly spoilers. So if you didn't know, this movie is very, very much hinting at sequels. Like, it doesn't even seem like a surprise at all, especially the ending, like the post-credits scene. Yeah, so in the post-credits scene, oh man, Tails comes out, and you're like, holy shit. And it was cool because right by the end of the movie, I was thinking, because, it's all about Sonic not having friends and being lonely and then finding a friend and being like, oh, I finally have friends. And I'm like, what about Tails? Like, what? Like, I mean, like, he met Tails when he was, like, young, right? I don't know when Sonic met Tails in the lore. But I was thinking, like, is this, like, before he meets Tails? Maybe there's some reason he meets Tails. Like, maybe Tails gets also sucked into this world or something. At the very end, he, like, a portal opens up, and Tails comes out, and he's like, I gotta find him. And it's like, oh, I guess he's trying to find Sonic. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And Tails looked great. And it was the voice actor from his game in the games. I was like, oh, cool. I really hope that sticks. I hope it's not just like celebrity. It's really cool to see Tails. And he, again, looked amazing. He looked great. So I was like, this is cool. But it was like opening up sort of an idea. And the same thing at the end, Dr. Eggman went into the Mushroom Hill world. That does not look like Mushroom Hill, but could have been a reference to Mushroom Hill, but I don't think they knew Mushroom Hill existed. They might have known it by name, so they just kind of made mushrooms in a hill form. Like, that kind of weirded me out too, because I think some people would have been like, oh shit, is that supposed to be Mushroom Hill? And it's like, yeah, but it doesn't look anything like Mushroom Hill. It's like somebody like told them, like, there's a place called Mushroom Hill in Sonic, and they were like, okay, like, do you need a picture? No, I don't need a picture. It's like, because it was like technically a Mushroom Hill zone, but it did not look like Mushroom Hill. Anyway, that he turned into like Dr. Eggman, and then Sonic is like, oh, I can, like, you know, I have the rings to go back to my world, but he doesn't want to, so now Tails is coming. So it's like, oh, are they gonna bridge the things? And you know, there's like some backstory about like how his powers came to be or something, and then like Dr. Eggman has like one of his like quills, and it's like, oh, what's he gonna do with that? I think he's gonna make Metal Sonic, which would be pretty cool. And if like Metal Sonic and Tails and Dr. Eggman and everything is all lined up, a sequel would feel more in line to the games, and I think that'd be really fun. I want to see like the Sonic games turn into movie form, basically, not Sonic turned into a CGI friend movie. I think that was cool, but I do kind of a theory. I think that might have been the direction of maybe some of the people that were on the movie after it started to change. I cannot even imagine what Tails looked like if he did before this change. Maybe they had it like, you know, written out, but they didn't actually have the scene yet. But I think that's a cool idea. I think if they continue to have Tyson Hess and, I don't know, whoever else worked on the post process of the movie after the change, I think that sequel could be really good. I think that sequel could be really cool, more in line to what I want, I guess, which is more Sonic-y stuff. James Marsden could die, that'd be great. No, I'm kidding. Not actual James Marsden, his character, I'm sorry. James Marsden's probably a really good guy. He seemed like a really good guy in the interviews where he was like, Pingus, oh, Pingus, and I was like, what the fuck? I think the sequel could be cool. That's probably the most exciting thing about the movie as a whole, is I think a sequel for it would be awesome. And I think it actually would work really well with a sequel. So I'm hoping for it. I think, like, this is a great, safe first movie, and it works as a pretty good CGI friend movie. Okay Sonic movie, in my opinion. I'm surprised Sonic fans aren't more, like, kind of peeved. There was, like, not a lot for Sonic fans in this movie. Like, there were some references, and people kept saying, and they're like, oh, I loved all the little nods and references. I'm like, I feel like there weren't too many little nods and references. There was, like, you know, the he had rings. Didn't really function the same way as they did in the games, but he had them. There were rings. They weren't as big as they were in the game. They can turn big for some reason. You know, he had they lived in Green Hill, the name of the level in the game. Again, that San Diego thing, but I think that's kind of a stretch. They had the music a few times, like twice. That's about it. I honestly, unless there's stuff hidden, which maybe I could see later, I did not notice a lot. I mean, there were like animations. I remember like one time he posed like the Smash Ultimate render, and I was like, oh cool, that's actually kind of cute. But besides that, I was like, I don't really see much that was like really referencing Sonic games. A little unfortunate. As a Sonic fan, I would have been like, damn, I wish they would have like taken more from the games, like more for me to like appreciate. But they didn't really do that for some reason. Yeah, that's about it. I just kind of want to talk about the movie. It's fun because I don't really have like solid opinions on movies a lot of the time, so this is kind of just all over the place. As a whole, I've said it a million times so far in this review. I liked it. I didn't love it. I really do think it falls in the same exact category as a lot of those CGI friends, Smurfs, Garfield. Maybe I have to rewatch them. Maybe if I rewatch Smurfs and Garfield, I've been like, oh wait, this is real fucking bad. Never mind. But everything was okay in the Sonic movie. But Sonic, as an IP, definitely helped it out in my opinion. I technically like Sonic as much shit as I give it. I do kind of like Sonic, so not as good as the OVA movie, the anime movie. Fucking watch that. That movie's fun and cool and interesting. Also, I was kind of disappointed. Doug Walker wasn't in the movie. I don't know if you remember the Sonic movie that was released on YouTube, but dude, Doug Walker had a vital role as a gun guy. Yeah, why wasn't the government named Gun? Why didn't Dr. Eggman have captured animals? A lot of little things that I would have been like, that was a fun nod, that was a fun nod, that was a fun nod, but there wasn't. It just didn't really have enough for me to even take from it. And some people would find that a good thing. Some people don't like the whole IP shill kind of stuff. But at the same time, everyone loved the Pokemon movie for that reason, so I don't know. I don't really, again, I'm not trash this movie. I'm this movie deserves to go to shit. I just kind of hope that other studios don't take from okay, generic cliches will do well. And I'm please, no, do something creative. Please, please, please. No more Olive Garden, please. But anyway, thanks for watching. I hope this didn't come off too ranty. Just kind of wanted to talk about my feelings with the Sonic movie. I didn't really get to talk about a lot of the specifics, scenes and stuff. It turned out to be a little too wishy-washy for that. But overall, it was cool. Cool to see Sonic do well. I think the next one is going to be the Mario movie, so we'll see about that. Illumination. We'll see. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.